Alright, this chapter opens up with Nagi wondering the same thing I was wondering at the end of the last chapter. When exactly did Rio get Aura? Because it definitely wasn't until recently. And I ain't gonna lie, Rio's putting in overtime to keep the vibes up. And you can see that because Nagi kind of hints towards that he looked a little nervous or on edge. But that's what you do when your homie is clearly going through something. Alright, you don't burden him with unnecessary burdens. All right, you need to focus all that energy on your problem because you you can't even fix your problems. So how are you gonna help me with mine? And after the Nagi and Rio tease for the 7,000th time, we switch over to Isaigi, who just absorbed Android 17 and 18 to achieve his perfect form. And he's completely dumbfounded by his new increase in power. I really want to know how much more of this Machiavellian inner monologue we're gonna get before he switches back to cosplaying as a normal, sane teenage kid again. I'm just picturing the conversation his parents are having in the stands watching him right now. He's like, "Babe, you see that? Yeah. You remember the first time we saw that look? Yeah, it was when he got first place at that science fair. I don't think I've ever seen that many kids cry before. But he was in such a good mood that day. He was in a really good mood." Yeah, that's because unfortunately their tears give him power. Which, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's kind of ironic phrasing it like that because Kaiser went off on his whole rant about, that's how he feels when people hate him. It makes him feel more alive. But Isaigi pretty much does the same exact thing. He just views it completely different. Where, Kaiser knows it's, really messed up, where the Demon King is under, a completely different umbrella. It's almost like a, don't hate the player, hate the game. And I think when he sees his defeated foes on the ground and he just sees them crying, he just kind of goes, "Sounds like a skill issue, bro." Asagi will destroy your entire life, then attempt to give you a half-ass attempt to cheer you up, and then when it fails, because it always does, he walks off and immediately start plotting on how to make that happen more efficiently. Please lock him up. Why are we allowing him to go into adulthood? He can't play soccer forever. He's gonna have to do something else eventually. You want to let that evil out into the world? You know how much money he's gonna accumulate during his entire soccer career? He's getting offered millions of dollars as a teenager. This has to be one of the most obvious signs of the apocalypse I've ever seen. The BlueLock verse is cooked. And I'm gonna reel myself back a bit because I'm sounding like Detective Dogs from Dexter. But to get back to the chapter, I have to say, one thing I hate more than a Cheeto meat muncher is a Cheeto hater. I swear, they know more about him than actual Cheeto fans. And I love the fact that he showed up as number 3, even though I'm a Borrow fan myself. And I have to tell you, it's because unlike BlueLock fans, I don't let the bids affect me. The only thing I look for when I'm looking at the bids is all my favorite characters in the top 23. Because that's the literal only thing that matters. I don't know why BlueLock fans act like the biddings or power levels. And I'm not going to sit here and act like the bids aren't related at all. Or correlated to how good a player is, but it's definitely not the end all be all. And because I gotta say this. Remember, this is being broadcast to millions, if not billions, of people. There's so many club owners involved in this. There's so many hands in this pot. Do you guys think about it? Do you guys remember when Asagi was talking to his old teammate, and this guy sat here and was like, "Man, you're so lucky." And we were all sitting there reading that panel what is bro yapping about? Because we're there, we're inside his head. It's that's almost we even mastered luck. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think these club owners look at the field and what's happening on it the same way the players do? Because remember when Loki was talking about how he was prepping Charles to be the ultimate passer, or how Noel was prepping Kaiser to be his ultimate opponent so he can get better? these bids aren't solely based on how good they are. As a matter of fact, I would say for these bids, being good is literally probably just a baseline. These guys don't have infinite money. They have structured teams and philosophies. Why would you spend money on something you feel like you don't need? I mean, I guess a really good analogy for it, or easy way to explain it is Ego's like a gardener that just planted seeds, and he has, and he's understanding how these plants grow. And the club owners are people that have gardens that buy plants to make their properties look better. I don't understand why people put so much value into the bids. I don't pass making sure their favorite characters in the top 23 because the rankings in BlueLock change so often. I don't even waste my brain energy trying to power scale it because one flashback can prepare someone in the 15th spot to the 8th spot. That's just how the BlueLock program works. As an example, do you think that Kaiser is $60 million better than Isaagi and Ren, or do you think Baro's 100 million plus worse than Kaiser, Ren, and Isaagi? There's so many other things going on in the background, and these are just small men behind TV screens with big checks. But not to get into a full-blown rant about that, which seems a little bit redundant right now. They finally switched back to the Nagi and Ryo fight, and I'm locked in to see Nagi getting his groove back, which I thought was going to happen this chapter, but I think he forgot he was playing on ranked and he couldn't pause the game, and Lavino took full advantage of that and got the ball, which I thought was super funny because Nagi must have been dazed because Lavino was acting like he was scaring someone he snuck up on. Instead of saying boo, he acted like a dinosaur for some reason. But he's a creative, so he can't be basic and act like a ghost like everyone else. He got to be different. Then he talks about soccer isn't about passing, which that's a statement only as someone who put all their skill points into dribbling could say. But acting like a dinosaur nerfs you apparently, and your ball handling skills go down. So you get the ball jacked by Chris Prince, who's only there for sponsorships and Instagram followers, which is probably why he passed the ball to Rio. I'm sorry, I don't ever believe anything that comes out of this guy's mouth. He has shown time and time again that he's a fucking clout demon. The only reason he's there is to accumulate more popularity because he's an outrageously shallow person. These games mean nothing to him, but because he loses absolutely nothing besides clout, which is why he hates the Demon King for blocking that goofy ass goal he was trying to do the other game. I'm willing to put money down on the fact that Chris Prince, before he gets seriously involved with any woman or literally anyone, he checks their Instagram account to see if they have just as many followers as him, or or at least more. He needs to get something for them, and if he doesn't, he just basically doesn't involve himself with that person anymore. I'm talking about this because it's because Rio's family. He's from an outrageously rich family. He's crazy. He has God money. I don't believe him for a second when he was passing towards Rio, and I don't think he passed to Rio basically off his pure skills. I'm calling bullshit. When he was yelling out, I want to see your future. I'm pretty sure there was a Freudian slip, and he was like, I want to see our future. I mean, the only thing that Chris sees when he looks at Rio is dollar signs. And he's a literal clout demon. Also, I think I might be the last to the party, but I didn't peep the artistic game of the whole chameleon thing until this goal. The whole it changes its color to eat its prey. I didn't realize it until Rio scored the goal this chapter, and it looked like a chameleon, eating a fly or that quick lick action. That was top tier. Also, I don't know why Nagi wasn't getting his flowers from this chapter. I locked in with little bro because if my homie ever came up to me and apologized for being great to spare my feelings, I gotta look in the mirror and figure out what needs to change. I know that had to hurt because Nagi didn't even think twice about leaving Rio behind in the beginning of the story. I know that had to hurt, bro. Rio might be actually goated. You know, look, Isaigi had his "I am a ghoul" moment, and I'm happy my bro Nagi's getting his "I'm done dreaming" moment. Hopefully, the rest of this game doesn't end like next chapter because I want more from Chigiri and Bachida, but you know, I need them to hold this L. I think there's some leaks coming out. Well, at the time it's recording before I start editing it. I think some leaks are coming out today, but I'm just gonna wait for the official release date to do these reviews on these chapters, and